Y'all, I guess this is going to be a part 2 video because my storage literally ran out while I was doing my other video. I have 256 GB, or had, but I have like a lot of old recordings on here, like very old, and I need to go through these and figure out what the fuck I'm going to do with them. Excuse my language. Sorry about that. I curse a lot. I apologize. Anyhow, what did I want to say? I forget what I was talking about when I got cut off. Oh, I was talking about creators I follow. So I was just saying I follow all these creators that are very critical of men, to coming across as outright man-hating in certain circumstances. Not everybody, but, you know, like certain people, YV edit, you know what I mean? Like, you know, comes across that way. And I love her to death, by the way. But I'm like, girl, how do you know what I mean? Because you know, like, isn't that kind of awkward? It's like if I were a black woman married to a KKK guy and he's like, N-word, this, that, and the other. And then he comes home like, I love you, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, hope that makes sense. And I understand women, we've gone through hell with men. I get it. We continue to go through hell. I am so exhausted at the violence against women and children that is mostly perpetrated by men. And oftentimes, even when a woman is involved, somewhere along the way, there's a man, you know, pulling her strings and stuff. Not always, but a lot of times, you know, like for instance, they will sometimes use women for human trafficking, but they are usually males using a female as bait for human trafficking, or even using children as bait for human trafficking to get more victims and stuff, you know. So I get it. I'm calling it out with you. I'm here with you. It's just that it's interesting, like how a lot of these women, they're telling you to decenter men, and I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm just making an observation. Hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And yet they lay next to a man, and, you know, they're riding cowboy with the man on a pretty consistent basis, presumably, right? I don't really know what's going on, but presumably, right? So it's like, how does that work, you know? But either way it goes, but meanwhile, you got women like me who, like, I hear the message, but I don't have much of men, like much men to decenter, if you know what I mean, like, you know. So I'm kind of like, you know, and I've talked about this in previous videos, you know. So anyway, what else did I want to talk about though before I get cut off again for running out of space? Let's see. It had something to do with, oh yeah, I was just saying that I just, a comment that I wanted to, I'm sorry, I'm kind of discombobulated. A comment that I wanted to get on that came up in one of my videos that, as I mentioned, is the older video. The woman had said something about how she knows that when she loses weight, that male attention will come. And it made me think, and I think she said it like in a negative way, you know, and I understand that too. I told this story, but I wanted to kind of tell it in a little bit more depth of something that happened to me when I lost weight. And I do think that that may have an influence on me not racing to the finish line to get down to my goal weight. Not 100%. I'm not like using this as the whole excuse or reason or anything, because I don't think it is, but I do think it plays a role. I am a big believer, especially when you watch shows like My 600-Pound Life, you can tell that there is a correlation between feeling unsafe in your body and choosing to pad it up with excess weight. You know, whether it's because you were sexually abused or physically abused, and maybe even verbally abused, it can cause some people to choose to hide behind weight. I know that as a survivor of sexual abuse as a child, in one sense, I resented not being thought of as being cute anymore by a lot of people. But in another sense, I did feel like being less cute made me a little bit safer. And I know that there is a perception that being less physically cute makes you a little bit safer. And if we take sensitivity out of the conversation, I think there's a little bit of logic to that, that, the more quote unquote attractive you are, the more it will suck people into your orbit and make you more of a target sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, when when dog nappers, and I hate to compare humans to dogs, but when a dog napper sees a rare pretty breed of a dog, then that might be the dog that they want, versus if you saw a mangy dog that looked unkempt and like, who the hell wants that dog? And that sounds terrible, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to sound weird, and it's like, oh, well, oh, you're trying to say like sexual violence is based on attraction. To some degree, it is. To some degree. And I mean, there's a reason why most victims of sexual violation are in a certain age group. Okay, not completely. Yes, there are old women who get sexually assaulted, but most victims of sexual assault, tend to be of a certain age group. So, and you can't tell me, oh, it's because, like, if you're an 80-year-old woman, you are more vulnerable than a 20-year-old woman. So you can't tell me that that's what it is. There is a love of, like, attractiveness does play a role. And I know that's a very triggering thing to say, but it kind of ties into what I was saying about how some of us will pad our bodies to, and I believe subconsciously, we're padding our bodies with excess weight to be less attractive when we have been abused, be it physically or sexually, or whatever. And so anyway, why I get into that is I can understand that thought, and I was saying that fat is an armor to some degree, because let me just say this. If I had the opportunity to have a relationship with a good guy, I'm not going to tell you I won't take it, but I will tell you I would be very trepidatious. Like, I would be kind of scared because I don't feel completely at peace in my life right now where I feel comfortable bringing a romance into my life. I just have things going on where I just don't feel the most comfortable. But at the same time, there's a part of me that at least wants to be considered, if that makes any sense. Like, so no, I'm not like looking for an actual relationship at the moment, if we're having that completely honest conversation. But it comes across like I am, because I'm being open about the fact that I do want to be desired. I do want the option, if that makes any sense, But I also am scared a little bit of, quote unquote, being on the menu, of all of a sudden being a part of the male gaze and everything in a way that, as of right now, I'm not, for the most part. It's not that there's no man that thinks I'm attractive or anything, but most men ignore me. But when I lose a significant amount of weight, like from today's weight, I would certainly say 70 pounds, completely different. It's a different world. Okay. So, and that, when I hear these horror stories, like there was a woman in Detroit, someone in my family shared a story where she was coming out of, I want to say, a convenience store, a gas station or something, and a guy was trying to holler at her. And she rebuffed the guy, and he shot her in the head. And amazingly, she survived. By the grace of God, this lady survived, bless her heart. But she could have just as easily not. And that's horrifying, And anyway, to tell the story of the thing that happened to me, again, this is a story from about 10 years ago. It was when I was in my lowest. Actually, I wasn't even at my lowest. I was about 70 pounds lighter than I am right now. My lowest was like 90 pounds smaller than I am right now. But I did 2 videos that day, at least 2. The first one was before I went to Trader Joe's, and I believe I even say in the video, I'm heading to Trader Joe's, and I was on YouTube under that Extreme Makeover account. Okay, I can find the video. Oh, where's my phone? Oh, I don't know where my phone is. Oh, here it is. My bad. Okay, I just want you guys to see. I did not post the second video, but I made the second video. I've even seen it. But I did not post it. Let me go to the first video. Ooh. Okay, I messed up. Give me a second, please. I'm sorry. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I just wanted you guys to see this was me at 2:29, and the day that this incident happened, this was me. Or do I have it on this account? Oh, maybe it's not on this account. Okay. Or no, maybe it's under shorts. Yep, okay, it's under shorts. This is the video. I'm about to take off to Trader Joe's tonight and pick up some much needed groceries. I just wanted to report that as of today, my weight is 229.8. Thank you, God. So happy about that. And it's really funny because my first YouTube video that's up right now, actually not the first one, but the second one, the first one I weighed over 300 pounds. That was the Pt.2 review. But the second one, I weigh 40 pounds more, actually a little bit more than 40 pounds more than I do now. And that's really cool. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And I appreciate all of your support. Take care. Bye. Hello, everyone. This is Extreme. Okay, so the day that I made that video, and I mentioned going to Trader Joe's, I had a unpleasant experience that was a little traumatizing, and I'm going to tell you guys about it. So there was this guy who used to work there. I'm not going to say his name, not because he doesn't deserve it, but I just would rather not be messy. So I'm not going to say his name, but he was an older Black man, and he was always very friendly towards me, even when I was around the size that I am right now. Okay. But as I decreased in size, he became friendlier and friendlier. Now, I was the kind of person that, first off, I used to, and I still do, I'm still like this, where I'm a creature of habit, where I go to the same places over and over and over again, and I get to know the people there a little bit, where, you know, it's almost like we're friends, even though a lot of times we don't know each other's names. So it's like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 you know, whatever. And sometimes I've had people that work at these stores that I've frequented, or restaurants, be like ultra friendly, where they'll hug me or something like that, and, you know, like just very friendly. And so when he started hugging me, I just thought he was sweet and friendly. Well, one day, which was the day that I did that video, I don't want to get emotional, but the day that I did that video, we went there, and he gave me a hug, and he touched my breast, like he was like filling up on the side of my body, you know, and he had seen me lose all this weight. You know, he had watched me because I'd been a consistent customer and everything. And, you know, he got handsy with me. And I am someone who sometimes when I'm in a scary situation, and like, first off, I get dumbstruck when something shocking happens to me a lot, like where it's like my brain doesn't know how to process it in that exact moment. And I like was quote unquote laughing and stuff. And all of this kind of male attention was new to me, because being my size, and I know that there are women who are big like me who can understand this, especially if you've been consistently big like me. A lot of people don't sexualize you. They act like you don't have a sexuality to begin with. So you're not really used to it when people do start to sexualize you. And there's even a little part of you where sometimes you might be a little flattered because you don't get that kind of attention until you realize like how disrespectful that is and how used you are, because they're not doing it to make you feel good. They're doing it to use you for their own pleasure and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Hope that makes sense. And anyway, so that was the first thing that he did that night. Then as I'm checking out in the line, he says, "Hey, can I get another hug?" And I'm like laughing like embarrassedly. And again, my brain is still like not fully processing what happened. You know what I mean? I'm still like, I'm just like, what the heck, And I like give him a second hug or whatever. And this is after he's already groped me in the back of the store or whatever. And then there was another guy that worked there who looked, I shouldn't say what he looked like because I hate to give too many details. I'm just going to say it though. He looked like Dave Ramsey, like an older middle-aged white guy. And he looked like on the older side of, middle age, and he looks like Dave Ramsey. And anyway, about him, he was like looking at me lustfully that day too. And it was just such a weird vibe. And again, there was a little part of me that had been so attention starved that in one sense, I was kind of like a little flattered, if you know what I mean. But in another sense, I knew obviously this was inappropriate and fucked up and disrespectful. You know what I mean? And then I ended up recording a second video, and mind you, this is from 10 years ago, and I never even posted it. So I wasn't like doing it for attention or anything. I don't know why I chose to vent on video. I guess because that first video that I just showed you guys, I recorded that, and I just like, I got emotional in that second video because I realized like how disrespectful and gross that was. And do you know that I stopped going to that Trader Joe's for several months? I would not go back there for months. And my mom, I would just have her pick things up that I needed. And I think she said that he had even asked about me because he knew that that was my mom. I used to, hang out with my mom a lot and everything. And then one day I showed up and I stayed close to my mother like a little kid. I know that sounds really weird, but my mom is kind of like an intimidating presence, and I stayed close to her like a little kid. And I remember he made a comment like, yeah, like I know you haven't, and he was saying it very seriously to me. He didn't try to hug me this occasion, but he was like, yeah, I know you haven't been in here because your mom's kept you out of here, which is not true. My mom did not keep me out of there. I chose to stay away because of his behavior, and the version of me that looks like this gets a different version than the version of me that looked like I did in that video. And not that I was just the most gorgeous babe ever. I was cute, but not that I'm like the baddest bitch ever, but just that now, not now, but now as far as being that weight, I became sexually attractive to men. And so how they interacted with me was different, So I hope that makes sense. And so, yeah, there is like, I think a fear sometimes about getting down to my goal weight, even though there's another part of me that really wants it. And especially for the opportunity to meet someone who's quality, but also understanding that you're going to attract all kinds of men, including the lecherous ones, So anyway, I guess I'm going to cut it here. I know that there was more stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. Bye.